Okay, we waiting on him before we start. We live, we live, we live.
Yo, you hear me?
Yo, yo,
Yeah.
yo.
All right. D, you know what to do.
Hold on, my fault.
Hold on one
I got
second.
a Bluetooth turned off for some reason, man. Hold on 1 second. Let me get this Bluetooth on.
Okay.
It turned off because of the internet. I don't know why. Wait, hold on. Let me do it through the settings. My fault. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Hello? You here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Where y'all at? Where Jay at?
Jay, you in the building?
Yes, sir.
All right, you
I
gotta
don't
put
see
your
him.
camera back on. All
What's
right, he's
going
back. He's
on?
back.
All right,
All
here we
right.
go. Let's start the show.
Let's
Good
go.
evening, everybody. You tuned in to GW Anxiety Talks. I'm your co-host D Hayes NYC. You got your host, my boy Nate, and today
You
we got
already
a
know.
special guest, my boy
Yep, boy
Jay.
Jay.
Yep.
AKA Marty Ma, episode
My
7.
boy Nate, our host. He gonna run over a bunch of accommodations that Jay have going on for himself.
Uh, okay, here we go. So this brother here is a personal development facilitator and a diversity coach. He's an educator. Also, he's a podcast host for the Define podcast and more. He's a business strategist, a consultant, a speaker. He's also deaf and hard of hearing advocate. He connects people to their purpose, and he brands you with your audience, and he brands with his audience as well as the world. Also, I want to add, he's also a life coach. This man is many things. He's a brother of mine, student of the game. He's a mogul. He's the reason why we're at episode 7, people.
7.
Episode 3, I was at my lowest. I was at my lowest down part of episode 3. I wanted to take a break. I didn't know my purpose. And this man came in and lit a fire under me like never before. Motivated me. He was so passionate about it. Not only of the history that we have, but he was always on call or either calling about what was the next thing I needed help with to get to the next goal. How could he help me and assist me with getting to the next goal? So when I say we are here with none other than the young mogul himself, Jay.
Yo,
Jay,
what's good?
we
What's
give a
good?
little
What's poppin'?
applause first
What's
for you.
poppin'?
We give him a little applause.
I appreciate you, brothers, man. I love
Word.
what you guys got going on here, man. I'm always
Appreciate
tuning
you, bro.
into to every episode, man, and you guys have really given so much value and content that people can use in their personal life to overcome anxiety, man. And I think the world needs more of these conversations. So I salute and commend you guys for not only having me on, but doing due diligence and doing your job so you can help other people, man.
Mm. Bro, I'm really just happy that you came and did our show, man. It's been long overdue. We spoke
For
on
real.
doing this a while before, but I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, I really tilt my hat off to you, bro. You came a long way. I done watch your transition from when we were young to how you are now, and it's beautiful to see the work ethic that you have put in. And plus, we want to thank you also for the opportunities that you give not only to us but to the public as well to help elevate them with whatever projects they're working on. But you
Right.
always get people to where they really want to go. So I thank you again, man. Let's get a round of
Dope.
applause for my man Jay again, man. Let's get it in the building.
Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, y'all, listen. Before we get started, we got to give a shout out to Anxiety
Shout out,
Talks,
shout
man.
out
Come
to
on,
Anxiety Talks. This is definitely sponsored by Anxiety
Anxiety Talks,
Talks.
baby.
Get in tune with the brand. You understand?
Anxiety
Yeah.
Talks.
DM Nate
Salute you.
Garcia for purchases on all your merch. DM D Hayes for all the purchases
Word
on the
up.
merch. DM. Shout out
Oh
to
man,
us.
Definitely. You
Shout
know,
out
I
to
had to
you.
support. You know,
the
from day
movement
one, you
that's
know, I got to
moving.
support, man. And it's so crazy
Yes,
is that,
sir.
you know, we come from the same area. You was literally my next door neighbor. And I don't think, I'm not sure how people know you and how much information you gave about your personal life, but you was literally my next door neighbors for years. We grew
Facts,
up with
bro.
each other, and it's
Facts,
crazy. After
bro.
I think like
Small world.
10 years of not speaking to each other, some crazy number. You know, I slid in
Mm-hmm.
your DM, you slid in my DM, and we just continue to like converse and we
Of
built
course, we
we
brothers.
started to build, you know, a even stronger camaraderie and brand with each other, bro. So I
Facts,
love this. I
facts.
love where you guys are at. I love what you're doing. I'm just honored to be here. I'm ready to jump right
Appreciate it.
into it, and you know, give as
I
much
got a
value.
question. I got a
Yeah, God,
question,
shoot,
man.
bro.
You know, like you said, we know each other. We've been in this for eons, but people don't know. For people who just tuning in, please. By the way, we appreciate you. We love you. Keep your head up. Let's go. We here for each other. Let's do this. For those of you who's gonna catch it on later on, same thing runs for you. We love you. Keep your head up. Stay tuned with us. Get in tune with us. That we're here for each other. So now jumping right into this.
All
Um,
right.
Jay, would you walk us through? Was it the age of 13 or 14 that you realized that you went deaf?
13. Around
13.
12, 13. Yeah.
So walk us through the age of 13 of what was life like for you at that stage, that moment.
Well, you know, it's crazy to even think about it, man, because I'm so removed from the ideology and the person that I've created by
Mm-hmm.
going through that process. Because I quite literally hated that person, and not the physical person, just the mindset of that person. But I was young, right? So it was unfortunate that one day I woke up and I realized there's something different. There was something different. Something had changed, right? And this was maybe a month before I was in sixth grade, I believe. It was a
Mm-hmm.
month before school was ending, and I woke up, same routine. My mom waking me up, and I was sleeping at on the couch because I was raised by a single mother. We had a two-bedroom. I had a sister who had the room at the time, and I woke up and I realized I couldn't hear. And at that
Wow.
very moment, I thought I was dreaming. I thought it was a dream. But as my mom started to speak, there was a weird vibration that I was able to feel. You know, they say when you once you lose one sense, all your other
Mm-hmm.
senses become stronger.
Hmm.
Immediately, I felt it. I
Right.
felt
Right.
it, and it felt almost like if you speak and you touch under your like your throat, you can feel that vibration. That's what I was. I felt like I was hearing, but I was actually feeling it. I was feeling the vibrations. Um, and then I told my mom, and she didn't understand.
Right.
And it
Mm.
was a big miscommunication right then and there because it was a fear that like instantly hit me because most people are afraid of the uncertainty, the unknown. And at this point, I never
Right.
experienced this, so I was immediately afraid.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah. So after that moment, I wound up not going to school. Matter of fact, I actually wound up going to school. Ended up going to school, and then the very next day, I was taken to the doctors, and they said I can have an
Right.
infection, or I
Mm-hmm.
can just have a whole bunch of wax in my ear. And what's crazy is that I became deaf one day to another, but as the days went by, I started to get my hearing back little by little. It was
Hmm.
just on my right ear. I remember started to get my hearing back, but I was so afraid of people. I was petrified of people for the simple fact I knew there was a communication barrier. So I never
Right.
wanted to be in a spot. I never wanted to be in a situation where somebody was communicating with me and I couldn't communicate back. Especially
Right.
Mm-hmm.
growing up in the Bronx, New York, you know, it's vicious. People are, you know, gritty and grimy and also I had this stigma or this persona of who I was as a teen. You know what I'm saying? I'm in junior high school. You know, I kind of got a good name. You know, I was fly, always fly, fashionable. You know, the New York mindset. You know, you got to be fly, you got to be fresh, you got to be all these things that really don't exist in the real world. So this persona
Right.
started to die, and fear started to rise. And for 15 years of my life, I lived in fear. I try to avoid people as much as I can because I was always in a state of fear. What if I go somewhere and I don't hear them? What if there's a miscommunication? I was already
Mm.
projecting what people were thinking about me because
Right.
I'm deaf rather than what I thought about myself.
So
So
I got a
that
question.
yeah.
Um, at that time, going from what you just claimed right now, right from 13 to what leading up to when we were all because we were all around each other around those ages coming up. So what was it like when we all started? Was you still figuring it out, or was you like, all right, whatever at this time? Because remember when we was kicking it, it was like we knew you had to wear the joint behind the ear, whatever the case is, and but I knew you always it definitely made you dark because you had to be extra on your toes. You had to because you had to understand people more, and it's not like me conversing with D where it's like kicks off the first try, but with you was like you had to make sure you read that right. Otherwise, it would have went. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what was
Different way
it?
of
What was
living.
it like? How was it then? Like, or was you still transitioning to then to understand it, or how did that go?
Well. So growing up, in the hood, as we say, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in the Bronx, you have to have a sense of awareness. If not, you get lost and you get dragged by the people. That's just plain and
Facts.
simple. So I always had a sense of awareness, but at this point, I didn't have a sense of identity. I didn't know who I was. So hanging around like people like you,
Right.
you guys were family, but I always had to be extra sharp again because I had to make sure that I understood my surroundings, and I was really good at reading people. So although I lost one sense, the other sense of having like a sense of awareness, feeling things, not only things but feeling energies. My
Right.
energies was like crazy, crazy. I was able to read somebody from like the first conversation I had with them. I can tell they're a shitty person or a good person. But that was my
Right.
mindset as I was going through that. But of course, man, I've struggled with the identity, even having this earpiece on the side of my head that I let my hair grow for like 12, 13 years because I didn't want people to see this thing on the side of my head. I didn't want to walk into a room and everybody, all eyes is on me. So I was
Right.
always hiding behind like these smoking mirrors, trying to like curve me being in that situation is gonna make me uncomfortable. And
I got a question
more
for
of that came from is because, my mom, as I was a mama's boy, like I was a
you.
clear
Right.
mama's boy. Wherever my mom went, I went, and I have no
Right.
shame saying that. But she sheltered me so much, to be so comfortable that I not realizing that was like controlling my paradigm and creating this environment that was
Mm-hmm.
always seeking to be comfortable. And when you go to the real reality, when you go to the real world, is the complete opposite. So although I went through all those things, and it's kind of difficult for me to share that because I'm so removed from that energy, I'm so removed from that
Right.
person and how that person thinks, and all those things that I thought about myself, because those weren't really my thoughts. Those were the thoughts that I was surrounded around. That was the environment that I was surrounded around. I had to be this specific person in order for me to survive.
Right.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
It
Right. I
does.
do.
From that experience, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me because my sense of awareness. Now I know who I am, but also I like if I didn't go through this, who would? Where would I
Mm-hmm.
be right now? So I actually took that as like motivation and fuel to get to where I'm at today. And it built up a lot of anxiety. That's where anxiety built in, just because I didn't want to be in an uncomfortable situation ever. Because if I felt like if I can control that, then why not? But I never grew. It took me 15 years to get out of this mental prison that I had in my head. For me to realize, like, this is who I am. This is who I'm always going to be. But
Mm-hmm.
the one thing I can control is my mindset of how I perceive myself. I'm not just a deaf person. That's not who I am. I happen to be deaf, but I'm a good person. I like to believe that I'm a good person.
Right.
You
I'm a
are, brother.
father. I'm a brother. I help people in my community. I try to inspire people through like actions and through adversity while sharing my story.
Right.
So my story is not my disadvantage. That's my superpower. And most of us get caught up in that mindset. It's like I go through adversity, and that's what slows me down. That's the barrier or the wall that's being put up. For me, it was a stepping
Right.
stone. It
Right.
was a stepping stone. It was the blocks that was helping me develop the character that I have today. The tenacity, the me being relentless and driving towards my dreams and my goals and be able to help other people. If I didn't go
So
through that, I probably would have been selfish. I
Right.
probably would have been dead or in the hood, dead or in jail because I was in the hood. I had that mentality, even before I became deaf. I was the baddest person on the block, and I don't say that like in a braggadocious way or in a way where I feel like that's something good to say. It wasn't, but I was just trying to survive, just like everyone else. But then I got humbled really quick, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to go through those situations.
I got
That's
a
that's
question for
literally
you.
Go ahead, bro.
How long after going through the stages of you waking up and understanding all of that, and a time span of you trying to grow and find yourself through it again, how long would you say you understood it was anxiety and not just just stress? Because stress was like the first word that was introduced to us as far as
Facts.
anxiety or depression related. It was stress first. So explain that.
Bro, living in the hood, we all have anxiety. We all have PTSD. That's instilled in us. But we're not allowed to think that way because if we don't, there's a shark out there that's going to snatch us up. So I've always had anxiety. I lived in a 7 story. I remember being young and going in my elevator thinking that somebody was going to pop out. And people did. I got guns pointed at me just going into my apartment at a really young age. And I don't share stuff like that because, again, I'm so far removed.
It's a fact.
But
It's a
it's
fact.
there's people there's people that lived in my building that didn't have an apartment. They would just sleep on the roof and try
Yeah.
and these
You remember that?
yeah. I'm not gonna say no names, but even that person pulled out a gun on me because he thought I was trying to rob him or something like that. And I'm 10 years old, 11 years old, just trying to get into my apartment. So I always had the anxiety. The thing about anxiety is though I don't give it enough power to stop me from doing what I desire to do. And most people use that as a barrier in front of them when you can simply place that anxiety in back of you as fuel so you can shoot to the moon. I
I
love
remember.
anxiety now. That's what allows us to be human, those emotions,
Fuel,
bro.
like a
I
natural
remember.
fuel.
I remember when we was talking about that behind the scenes. I was like, yo, I remember we was young, bro. I mean, this is the era we all had braids too. Everybody had
Yeah.
braids. We all had braids. And we used to all our clique was something different. Our clique knew how to link with each other, how we could. It was always all of us in the crib.
It
Wherever
was a
we was
family
at,
thing. It was a
it was a
family thing.
family thing in the crib. So I'm the young one in there rapping, trying to get everybody on a pen and pad. I got a few of them now. They rapping. Me, you. I got Hayes. I got Bishop. Shout out to them brothers too as well, man. MAG's a family. We done got each other in there, and we kept each other out of trouble too back in the day, which was cool. So when I'm listening to you say that, you gave me a lot of just stuff to reminisce about. And that building definitely is crazy, man. Either you had somebody using the bathroom in that building, or you had somebody sleeping on the roof in that building, or it was
Yeah.
just wild. It was crazy in the building. Put it like this.
Yeah.
So back in
So
the
that was the
day,
beginning stages. That was the beginning stages of
right,
anxiety. And then we grow up and we don't speak about it. Because us as men, we have ego. We don't want to look like we a sucker,
hmm,
right? So the reason I don't fall into like the anxiety mindset, and anxiety has a lot of different layers. It comes with like in many different colors, right? So I never
right,
want to downplay it, but for me, I don't give it power because the anxiety doesn't control me, right? Anxiety is just a feeling, and I'm not what I feel. I'm what I think. Thoughts become things, and
right,
that's the message that I always portray. It's like, yeah,
Facts.
you can allow yourself to feel that way. That is okay. The problem is when you hold that thought and you hold that feeling, and you don't move forward. That's when it becomes a problem. And somebody that I'm really close to is like, these thoughts, these feelings, they come like clouds, and you got to observe them and let them go by. Some people hold on to those clouds, and while it's pouring and raining, they're asking themselves why. Well, if you just let go of the cloud, you're gonna be able to see the sunshine and the rainbows.
mm,
And to me, I like to simplify things because people think it's something so far out. And I also speak for myself. It took me 15 years to get out of this mental prison. I was in prison, bro. I was doing a bid that I convicted myself to, and I didn't even do nothing wrong. I just woke up one day and became deaf. You
mm,
see what I'm saying? So how many people are convicting themselves to a crime that they didn't commit? How many people saying that I have anxiety, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't move forward with my life, which in some cases are different than others, and I respect that and understand that. But the brain is only listening to words after I am. So if you're saying I am depressed, I am stressed, I am this, your brain is gonna be controlled by your body, and your body and your brain is gonna work together to limit your state of being, limit your energy, your
Right.
frequency, so you can move forward. So the only things I put in my head is I'm a good person. I feel good. I'm grateful. I live with gratitude. Like these affirmations, I affirm into my life because those are the feelings I want to feel.
right, right.
So, and it sounds cliche. It's like the positive thinking, right? But
Mm-hmm.
that literally changed my whole perspective when I just started thinking positive. When things are raining and everything is going bad, my mind is still like, I'm still jolly and still happy and grateful to actually go through things, because
Right.
you can only grow through pain, bro. You only grow
Mm-hmm.
through pain, and people use the pain to as their fortress rather than their fuel.
Let me ask you something.
Hmm.
So we didn't talked
If
about.
I'm going too heavy, let me know. You know,
No, no, no. You good. You good. You good. You
Nah,
good.
you good,
I
No, no,
bro.
speak
no, no,
about
no.
these
You good.
subjects, and
You good. You
I'm
good.
super passionate about this because I know there's someone out there that's going through something
Yep.
so
What
personal,
What would you
some.
tell? What would you tell the younger self of you, or what would you tell someone out there right now who was at the beginning stage that you once was at? What would you tell them right now before they go out and beat themselves up? What would you tell them right now?
Focus on the things that you love, and it's so hard to do that. But when you focus on the things that you're grateful for, like family, like your friends, like, the people that you really love, the things that you love, we often put more love and emphasis on other people than we do on ourselves. We are often hard on ourselves. So most of the time we'll take action and we'll move based on someone else that we love versus ourselves, because we always put ourselves in the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would say. And I'm gonna give you an example. Say your mom, somebody that you love dearly, your mom, dad, spouse, whoever. What if they was going through something like very traumatic and you had to take action? How fast would you take action?
Immediately.
Immediately. You have a wife. If something was happening with your wife, all that fear, all the anxiety, all the things that you're feeling, it would not exist. Your mission would be your mindset would be focused on a mission. This is what I need to do. As humans, we can shift our perspective this fast.
Mm-hmm.
But there's things along the way that you have to be able to control, like the food that you eat, the content that you consume, the environment that you surround yourself with. Those amplify anxiety and fear and all those things.
Right.
That's
So you can
true.
start with something very
Right.
basic with the physiology, bro. People, you can get up and work out and exercise, bro, and that can literally change your whole life. It did for me. Working out has changed my life. I cannot go more than 2 days without working out, because the chatter of I'm not good enough, I'm just deaf, I can't do this, I can't do that will start to appear. It appears in everybody. It's part
Mm-hmm.
of your conscious and your subconscious brain, right?
Right.
But if I'm constantly putting myself through some type of strain, some type of pain, and I'm accomplishing it, and I'm going forward with it, I start to develop this characteristics that I'm unstoppable and I'm unbreakable. And I'm not saying that like in an egotistical way. I'm just saying like these are things that have developed the character that I have
Right.
by
Mm-hmm.
just doing small things. And my coach, my partner, says, when you do small things in a great way, you get great results. Don't worry
Hmm.
about the longevity, the things that are so far to reach. Do something small today. This is gonna help you and your future self.
Right.
Did anything you wanted to ask him? I know I keep jumping.
Yeah, yeah,
Nah, that's all right. Do your thing, man. You know,
yeah,
it's organic. It's all
yeah, yeah.
you
No,
know.
no,
It
man.
was.
I appreciate you guys for what you're doing here. It's crazy. My relationship with Nate is, bro. I knew you my whole life, bro. And to
Facts.
see where you are today and see how much you had to overcome, you had all the odds stacked against you.
I
But
told
guess
him that.
what? You never stop showing up. And this is why
Mm-hmm.
I commend people, because when things are hard, bro, when things are hard, things get tough. They get tough for people. Most people want to do what's convenient, and that's give up.
Right.
You've been through some stuff where you almost ended it. You
Right.
almost ended it. You almost ended
Right.
it for yourself. And because you didn't, guess what? You get to be on platforms like this. You get to share your message and your story that's
Mm-hmm.
so impactful to the world, where you can
Yes, sir.
change someone's life, just changing one person's life. That's always my goal, just one person. I don't care about the masses. Eventually I'll get to them, but just one person. So when we spoke maybe a few months ago, and you reached out, and you was talking about my podcast and what you were doing, and you started to share some personal experiences, I'm like, okay, I could work with him because I know he has something inside that he just has to pull it out of him. So when
Right.
Right.
people come to me and they're like, yo, you changed my life, thank you, you helped me, and I'm like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I was just a person to understand you. You had it inside you the whole time, but sometimes people need someone to believe in them just a little bit so they can
Mm-hmm.
start believing in themselves. And you
Mm.
already had the belief system. You had all the adversity. You have all the life experience. Adversity is just life experiences. You just needed a clear vision. And
Right.
once I sat down with you and I'm like, yo, this is the vision. This is what you're going to do in a month, 2 months, 3 months, and this is where you're going to be. Bro, we have not stopped talking. And I never seen you so on fire, so dedicated, so determined to go after this, and so
I
passionate.
appreciate it.
So passionate, bro. You speak about this like you're speaking to millions of people. And it's not because of the content creation. It's because you care, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Facts, and we suffer it. We go through it on a day-to-day basis. So at the end of the day, man, again want to tilt my hat off to you as well, because the conversations we have behind the scenes are you know how they are. They different, bro. They different. The levels of it, it's just how we all intense when we be discussing certain things. It's dope. The energy is amazing, and at the end of the day, we all truly want what's better for each other. And that's the type of group I would always belong to and want to be inspired by and grow with. Like, you're a big inspiration, bro. You've been a big inspiration to me. I always repost if I can something that you do, or something that whatever, even if it's a photo, because at the end of the day I want people to know, like, this is my guy, this is my dude. We all come from nothing. And it's so easy to hate when someone is doing something good for themselves. But why is this? I question the audience, people. Why is it so hard for you to celebrate your fellow partner, your homie, your brother, you know what I mean, the people you down to ride for? Why is it so easy to hate, then, and it's so hard to celebrate them? Why? We have to learn that if we're in a room and we got a team and we can see the talent in the team, it's okay that we may not have the it factor. But guess what? That doesn't mean we lose. We win because someone right beside us has that it factor. So what do? We put our forth efforts to give him we put him up front. We invest in him and we get him to be the one that's going to take us out. That's a team thing. Everybody wants to be Jordan. I grew up thinking the same way. I no longer. I want to be Rodman. You can have the ball, shoot it. I'm the reason why we got the possession now. Here,
Yeah.
Right.
Talk that
Right.
that's
talk,
where I want to
boss.
be. You know what I'm saying? We want that. That's what this community is about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, at the end of this, bigger than, look at D himself, look at Marty Mar. These people are running platforms that are here, and they're based on experiences, traumatic ones that we suffered, but they're also based on love and helping the next person elevate, giving thoughts and another idea. If you woke up with this idea of anxiety, if you woke up with this idea on being deaf, if you woke up with this idea on life, we just gave you another.
Mm-hmm.
Not maybe more. You got three in one conversation. You got one from me, you got one from D, you got one from Marty Marr. And it's that easy. And you know what I mean? Let's start celebrating each other more. What we're doing is nothing more than what we would do behind the scenes with no camera on. This is what we do because it's organic. People got to understand, if you are going through something, you have to identify what it is you're going through first before we can identify it. Because if you don't identify it, then you won't understand what we're discussing. It'd be
Accountability.
far-fetched, right? Holding what, D? What would you say, right? Holding what?
Accountability. Right.
So at the end of the day, let's identify. Let's acknowledge. It's okay to acknowledge you have a problem. It's okay to acknowledge you have a situation. But knowing you have a situation and doing nothing about it creates an even bigger situation. Because now you know, and you're not holding yourself accountable.
Facts.
So that's what this community is about. It's non-judgmental. It's all about you understanding that we care. But at some point, people, you have to realize, if you're the one in the situation, it starts with you caring. Because if you don't care about your situation, then us
Why
caring
should
won't
we?
mean nothing to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Why should we? Yeah, no, I agree, bro. I agree. You know, I wrote a book, it's called Story to Glory, and I'm actually gonna publish it really
Mm,
soon. And the first principle in there is based on, it's not about us. You know, we often get caught up in this story of what we tell ourselves. You know, I
right.
love stories so much is because I remember for 15 years playing the same story over and over, like having that scene of me waking up and not hearing and feeling like everything is dreaming for years. It would come back and come back and come back. And then when I finally met someone who'd been through the simplest situation, who became deaf, yet very successful, great person, great human being, who's now my brother, was able to overcome that. I'm like, all I have to do is change my story. I'm not a victim, I'm the victor. I'm able to share this
Mm-hmm.
story
Mm.
unlike anyone else. And that's what adversity is. Adversity is able to see what the problem and turn it into a solution. Also, see that problem and understand that it's trying to teach you something. And only you can learn that. And through the lens of which you tell it, that can be a teaching point for you to teach the next generation or your kids. Or
Right,
your
right.
kids. So
Mm-hmm.
anything that I go through, even like, when you saying the accolades and all that stuff, it sounds good. I appreciate it. We all work hard to get to where we are, right? But for me, I know I have so much work to do. I have so much more to do. I haven't even scratched the surface. And hanging around people like you guys who are in the same space, this is all self-education. We
Mm-hmm.
educating ourselves on anxiety, depression, and all these mental issues that people have, because it's a real issue.
Let me
But the
ask you a
faster,
question.
but the faster we change the story, the bullshit story that we tell ourselves, the faster we can get to where we want to be.
Right.
Right, right. Do you think anxiety is being, because I asked this to every many guests, do you think anxiety is being spoken on enough in the world today?
I think it's I hear about it often. I don't think it's spoken about enough. Or,
Mm.
for me, anxiety, I don't give it no power. So I don't speak about it in a way where I'm being controlled by something. I speak about it in a sense like it's fuel. Like, feel that
Mm-hmm.
energy burning. This is where my passion comes from. Even when I'm going on live, I'm a human being. I'm supposed to experience these things. Who said
Right.
we're not? Who said we're not? Who was the person that said that you're not supposed to have anxiety? Some sorts of anxiety, right? Because some are more severe than others, right? And that goes back to the
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
food, the content, the things, the programming that you put into your mind. Yeah, this is a computer. This is a supercomputer. And everything you do, everything you watch, everything you consume is the program to it. So if you're feeling like, anxiety is getting in the way, change your story, change the programming. What stops us from doing that? That's the real problem. It's not the anxiety. We're gonna feel that. It's the bullshit story that we tell ourselves because of that.
Right.
That we let that own us rather than us owning that.
Mm. At
Right?
what at what at what point in your life, right, did you get to this point? This point right now, the way you are, like what part of when you went deaf and you went to the depressions of that and learning about it, from that point on, what age group would you say you have developed, like, okay, you know what, today it stops? What was that moment for you?
I think about, I would say, 8, 9 years. And it's
Mm.
crazy for me. It happened a little bit different. I went to a personal development seminar, and I ran into someone who had the same experience. And I sat down and spoke with him for like 2, 3 hours. Most of the whole personal development seminar was me around him, just me around him, because I went to look for something. And when we talk about like information and everything I'm saying is not new. All this information is there, all of it. But the reason we don't take action is because we don't fall in love with the process. And anxiety is
Mm.
us worrying about the future, or thinking about the past, and not living in the present moment. And the present moment is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift. We're not living in our gift. We can't control what happened in the past. That already expired. We can't control what happens in the future. We can only work right now to develop ourselves to become the best version of
Yep.
ourselves. That's the only reason we're living, is to become the best version of ourselves. And that's never going to stop. It's always a journey. There's always room to expand and learn. And see, people get towards this trajectory, and when it becomes too hard, they just stay stagnant and they let everything go. Like, it's too much. I can't. I have these walls. My girl left me. My finances is shit. But that's the shit that you're telling yourself. That's the
Hmm.
programming you're telling yourself. You tell yourself something enough times, you actually gonna believe it, and that's like
Yeah.
scientifically proven. You tell yourself that you stress, eventually you're gonna become stressed. So I'm very in particular of what I say, especially when it comes around anxieties, because I don't want to call, the things that come out of our mouth. You speak life and death into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So me putting any power towards having anxiety or being stressed or having depression, those things are real. However, the more you give it power, the harder it's going to be to get out of it. So for the past 8 years, I would say, once I had that conversation with him, I realized that I was in my own way. I realized that I was telling myself the wrong story, and I didn't need permission for me to move forward and close that chapter of having the victim mindset of being like, why me? Right? That's the wrong question to
Right.
ask. Why not me? I'm the perfect person to overcome this anxiety and share this to the world. That at a split
Mm.
second, bro, your life can change. You worried about the past, you worried about the future. What about the person who just lost their legs? What about the person who just got diagnosed with cancer and is about to die? How you
Right.
think that person now that's real anxiety. That's real, that's physical, that's danger. Because that might take your life. But the things that we worry about, it's like an illusion. It's like a boogie monster that we create in our mind that's gonna attack us. When it's not, man. When you actually think about what people are afraid of, what people have anxiety towards, like really ask yourself that question. It's really nothing. Most of the time, it's based on the projection of other people. What is this person going to think about me if I go live? What is this person going to think about me if I start a business? What if I fail? What are they going to say about me? What do we think? What do we think about ourselves? What is the conversations we having with ourselves? That's the most important conversation, because if you don't believe, damn sure nobody else around you is going to believe. So I just have like this extreme confidence, not arrogance, confidence, is because I know what it is to go through some adversity. I'm a single dad, bro. I've been a single dad since I was 16 years old. No help. It's just been me. I've been from
Right.
job to job to job to job. I know what it is to be broke. I know what it is to
Right.
go from house to house. I know what it is because I was constantly playing this victim mentality. This victim, like I can't what? I can't work on myself. We all can work on ourselves. A reflection in your life is based on your thoughts. If you're not living a good
Right.
life, most of the time is what's up here. It's energy,
Mm.
man. What you frequent on becomes frequently, becomes your frequency. So we just got to be careful. I'm very in particular of the things that I say, the people I surround myself, and my thoughts. I'm constantly doing an audit check. What am I thinking about?
Right.
Who am I
Right.
speaking to? Who am I giving my energy to? This energy is contagious, man. You ever get on the phone with somebody
Hmm.
and you get off the phone and you feel like you need to pray, you need to cleanse, you need to fast or something like that?
Nah,
It's because
yeah,
their energy is
definitely.
contagious. You feel like they just vomit it all over you. I'm very aware of that. I have to be like in an open state for me to be able to accept that. Even close family is unfortunate, but I'm on a mission. I'm trying to get somewhere, man. I
Right.
have to be able to be able to operate at the highest frequency possible, so I can
Right.
attract all the things that I want into my life.
So
That's
speaking of
dope.
that, right? What we working on nowadays? I know you got the Define podcast going on. What's going on with you these days?
Um, so I have this book coming out. It's called Glory. It's Story to Glory, and that's just based on principles of changing your story and getting people to be attracted or inspired by your story, so you can move forward, right? Because
Gotcha.
the first thing for me is that I had to change my story. I had to change my story, because repeating the same cycle over and over is only going to give me the same results. And that's literally the definition of anxiety. So that's the first thing I'm working on. I'm also working on courses, and I coach people. I have masterminds, master classes. We have a studio called Life Design Studio here in Ocala, Florida, and it's a huge studio, 6,000 square foot studio. It's on 4 acres of land, and we're developing a personal development university with entertainment,
Hmm.
because I started to realize as I enter this world of personal development, it started teaching me things that I never learned in school, like an emotional intelligence, like learn how to learn. You know how to learn a subject, but you don't actually know how to learn. Like, how can you remember something? Is what we taught in school, like how to memorize a test. And so you start to, as you grow, you start to think, you're highly intelligent based on the things you remember. But what about the common sense part? They don't teach you that in school. So we teach basic principles that help people get to their higher self, so they can start a business, so they can become a coach, so they could overcome adversity, so they can live the best life that they want to live. So that's something I'm super passionate about. Is creating this
That
like
is
personal
dope.
development university, but
Right.
also it's entertainment, man. We're gonna be working on documentaries, movies. We're gonna do tours. You know, I want to get kind of like the music industry into education, because I started to realize this. We can remember a song that we heard 10 years ago, but we can't remember a book that we read 10 years ago. Why is that?
Mm.
You feel what I'm saying? There's an emotional intelligence, emotional attachment that we have into learning. So if I can get you in love, if I can help you fall in love with the process of learning, imagine all the things you can learn. You could become a millionaire. You can become very successful. You can help other people. You can teach other people and do all these incredible things that we are designed to do in life.
Right.
Yeah, D.
I
No,
went over the
that's
top. Yo, I'm super
nah. That
passionate
was
about this.
that's what
No,
the
that
platform
that
was
that
for,
yeah,
because you know
exactly.
you get people to be passionate, come from the heart anyway. But you know, just to piggyback on you just speaking about, you know, just it's the environment and you know the people, and that's a part of, you know, just to give you a little bit into my background, but that's a part of the, I feel, the first layer into my anxiety, you know, growing up and you know where we all
Mm,
come from, a rough environment. And you know, I would say majority, but all of my friends that I've lost along the years was from homicides.
mm,
Every last, I could
Condolences.
remember maybe one friend off the top of my head that, you know, died from natural causes, but that played a big role in my anxiety, you know, and then it led into, you know, your family, you know, family dying from, and, you know, I went to therapy for it. You know, me, my mom, and my dad, we went to therapy for it. And that was kind of my first phase of, you know, learning to speak out to people about my feelings and, you know, about what I was going through. But at the same time, you hear that you're not the only one with pain. You're not the only one experiencing just what you experiencing. You know, you get to hear other people hurt, and you get the, it kind of, it don't lift your pain, but it kind of makes you
it's
feel like you're a part of them. You
yeah,
with
yeah,
everybody, a bigger audience, you bigger group than it just being you singled out all the time. But
yeah,
you know
yeah. I love
that
that,
that
bro. I
was
love that.
that was a big layer for me, you know, and that closed me in, you know, being antisocial, you know, and that was the drive of my anxiety because it stopped me from being social. I didn't want to hang out. I didn't want to go to clubs. You know, I didn't want to go to parties, you know, and I, like you said earlier, it's not a bad thing because you know what? That kind of made me find a part of myself.
Mm,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? As far
Facts,
as who I really am. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? As far it
facts.
gave me time to think, and
Yeah,
and at the same time, you know, a quiet person, you know, leads to is more overthinking.
yeah,
So you know what I'm saying? So at the same time, it's like being quiet and closed in, just having anxiety makes it a little bit worse.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because the overthinking is almost natural. So now you fall deeper, you know, you go deeper in. So, you know, that
No,
that's
I
that's
think a lot of people, you know, and yo, thank you for saying that, because I think a lot of people have this those same exact experiences. They have
nah,
trauma in
for
their
real.
life, so they feel they need to detach themselves from the environment. So you become antisocial. That means your anxiety skyrockets because you really have nobody to talk to about that. But going to therapy, man, that's fundamental. That's like that's step one, to be able to share that. And you,
Right.
like you said, it doesn't heal the process, but you get some solace in knowing that you're not the only person in this world that's actually going through that. And that's when it switched for me, when I realized I'm not the only deaf person in the world.
Right.
I'm not the only person that woke up one day and something changed. And it made me realize, it's like, okay, this is what it is now. What can I do to take my situation and make it better? And I
Right.
just said, work on myself. That's the only thing I've done for the past maybe 10 years. All I did was work on myself nonstop every single day. I'm doing something that's gonna open up my mindset, help me learn something that I'm gonna be able to use in the future or be able to teach somebody. And I do that. I'm obsessed with learning and just get improving and getting better. So
You know,
yeah, I commend you that you even open up, because I know growing up in the hood, like that's not even a thing. Like you can't speak to the bros about that. Like, yo, I go to therapy. They gonna be like, yo, you
facts.
you bugging, dog. You bugging. Chin
you
up,
know,
man. Chin up. Keep
you
your keep
know,
your head up high.
you know what's crazy to chime in on what he said. So I'm gonna let him tell this one, but that's how me and him became this whole anxiety talk things to us. How I brought him into this because we both lost something and we gave it back to each other. I'll let him explain that to you, but D, if you could remember, we was
Yeah, let me chime
discussing
in real quick.
about
Let me chime in. Let me
Right.
chime in real quick.
Go ahead, bro.
It, so I want you guys to understand this is gonna validate the point that I was trying to make. If you guys didn't go through what you went through, there would not be a podcast right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you got
hmm
to understand that the things that you go through is trying to teach you something. Sometimes it's unfortunate as losing someone. Like there's
right.
pain, there's PTSD, there's anger, there's so many things that happens through that process. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing is for sure, we all gonna leave this planet. So the best thing you can do is work on yourself so you can become a better person and learn through those experiences.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's why
Right.
you guys are together, because you guys can relate on that specific thing, and
Mm-hmm.
our studio is it's about community, bro. It's not about me, it's not about my partner, it's about the people that we bring inside. You know how many people we help, people that walk into those buildings
Real.
lost, going through divorce, going through financial problems. They come in and we just have conversations, because it's not somebody like me that's gonna help you. It's me looking at you, having a conversation, and say, what can I pull out? Because I can tell a man about what he thinks based on his conversation. The minute you open your mouth, I'm like, okay, I see where the barrier is,
Mm-hmm.
and I start to investigate those things. I start to like breeze through those things, so you can confess to your border, this invisible border that you put up, so you can realize all you got to do is walk on the other side of that, because it's possible. And that's what I like to do for people. I just like to bring the best out of them, and then let them go do the work. Bring the
Mm.
best out and go do the work. And that's what I was doing for
Right.
you. It wasn't that I was giving you the tricks and tips. There's no tricks in life. There's no shortcuts. My
Mm-hmm.
boy, we all gotta put in the work. We all
Right.
gotta put in the work.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I was doing. Get your ass up, bro. Get to work. And I was planting these seeds in you to make you realize that what you're doing is needed.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer what you want. You need to do
Mm-hmm.
something like this, because there's someone out there that's listening, that's watching this in the future. It could be tomorrow, it could be 5 years, 10 years. My brain, I'm thinking about longevity. I'm thinking about the future.
Right.
Somebody's
hmm
gonna be able to watch this and be like, yo, I went through the same exact experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now I realize why I'm going through this and why I don't overcome this. It's because my limiting beliefs. It's because
Right.
the things
Right.
that I believe are true are really not true. I'm just putting too much weight and power into that. It feels like it's hard for me to get move forward.
Right.
But with you guys, it's like, bro, all the pain, all the adversity that you guys have been through has connected you. In the
Mm-hmm.
next 10 years, when your platform is where you want it to be, and you helping millions of people just by sharing your story, bro, you start to realize, like, damn, I needed to go to that. I needed to lose my mom. I needed to go through the hood. I needed to go homeless. I needed to go to XYZ. And that was the whole time, bro. It was building your character. The whole
Right.
time it was building the tenacity you need to go to the next level. Because every level there's gonna be a new devil, but there's also gonna be a new lesson.
Right.
So
So
yeah,
Right.
bro.
knowing that, right? Knowing what we know now, right, about you, and because I know you behind the scenes, but for the people,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
Hold on one
when
second.
was
Let
it
me.
that you
I'm
knew?
sorry, bro.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Not to
yeah,
cut you
yeah.
off. I just wanted to. This is for all of us. Being that we already know what anxiety is, right? Because since we all suffer from it, right? What do all right is
Wait, 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 wait,
this?
wait, wait, wait,
Go
wait.
ahead.
I'm not to cut you off. Keep that thought in
Mm-hmm.
your head.
Mm-hmm.
So you speak life and death into your life. I said that earlier, right? We got to change the narrative when we speak. We got to be very concise and precise on the things we speak, because then we give things power. When you say
Mm-hmm.
we suffer from anxiety, we don't suffer from it. We
Got you.
experience it. It's an
Experience it.
experience that we all, as humans, we have to experience that. Suffering is something different. That's when the victim mentality comes in and says, I'm suffering. I have a disease. I can't move. I can't go to work. I can't love my wife. I can't take care of my kids.
Right. Right. Most definitely.
You're not suffering, my brother. You're experiencing something that makes you
Right.
human. And it's not to chin up, it's to understand you have to observe these feelings. It's your emotional intelligence. If you can be aware of your emotional intelligence, bro, you can take over the world. But not scrolling on social media and eating the bull crap that we eat. That's not gonna allow you to.
Right.
Gotcha.
What was your question, OD? Anyway,
Being
about experiencing it.
would we say anxiety, depression, PTSD, are those all things under mental health umbrella? Because I really feel like they're all kind of the same things
I think it varies. I think they're just
on different
some are more
levels. You
severe.
mean?
Yeah, some, and even on the like scientific part, like people are clinically depressed. Some people are clinically bipolar. Right? That's There's a chemical imbalance that happens. But the problem is people give it so much weight, and those words are used so loosely that the minute you feel sad, you think you're depressed. The minute you feel like you anxious, you take that anxiousness and you turn it into anxiety. When you're just anxious, it's like
Right.
you. I'm anxious. I'm always anxious. You see me, I'm always snappy because I'm happy to be here. But that doesn't mean that the anxiety is gonna stop. It's not. But you can have control over it. And when you realize
Right.
you have control over those experiences of your life because those are just experiences. They just experience. You're
Right.
allowed to have those experiences. But when you give it power and you give it weight, that's when it becomes tricky because you start to believe that that's all that you are and that's all that you will ever be. And that's when you get deep into like depression and anxiety. So they are, that is a part of mental health, and those things are real. But I don't want to give you a statistic, but most of the time people label themselves before they actually have those experiences.
Right.
That's
Does that
dope.
make sense?
Yep.
Definitely.
When did you know you wanted to be to create the Define podcast? When did you know that was something you wanted to do?
5 years before I started, but I was
Mm.
just like anyone else, afraid, ashamed, thought I wasn't good enough, had limiting beliefs, all those things everybody experiences. I had those feelings until I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. See, most
Mm.
people move, most people take action for two things: inspiration or desperation. I was inspired and I was desperate.
You said I was
Because you know what,
inspired
you know
and I
what,
was desperate.
you know what it is, bro. Like I know we on camera and stuff like that, but we talk like this off camera. This is what we
Yep.
Right.
do. Why not give it to the
Right.
world? Why not share it? Why not share it to the
Exactly.
world? Why not let this be a catalyst or a tool for somebody to use so they can improve in some way, shape, or form in their life? Like I'm not trying to
That's a
be
fact.
God. I'm not trying to save the world. That's not my intention at all. But I knew there was a couple of shifts in my mindset that happened that allowed me to live a life that I live now. And it's a life of abundance. Just
Right.
an
Right.
abundant life because I have an abundant mindset, man. And we all can
Right.
experience that. We all can. But again, it depends on the person and what they want.
How do you see the Define podcast affecting the world in 5 to 10 years?
I know it's gonna be damn, that sounds arrogant. I just know even now we in the beginning stages. It has
Hmm.
impacted people through education and entertainment, right? So the entertainment part is like I speak for people that come from areas that I come from, right? And you get to see those smaller inner city like conversations alongside of personal development with people that have these high level ways of thinking, and I'm merging them into one. So soon we're gonna do tours. It'll have merch. It'll have all these things, but it's really gonna be a catalyst for a personal development. I want people to learn something, gain something from that. Like when you feel like you're down and out, or even when you're at your highest of your highs, you want to get to the next level. The Fine Podcast will be a platform where you're gonna be able to hear maybe that one line and be like, "Damn, that's what I was missing. Now I gotta go take action." Does
And
that
it,
make sense? So
um,
define.
no, no, it
So
does.
the so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
define. Even if you look at the way that I spell define, it's DEAFINE. It's define. And the reason
Hmm.
I made it
That's
like that,
dope.
obviously, is because
That's brilliant.
I became deaf, right? But I wanted to make sure and emphasize that the things that I go through don't define who I am. That doesn't define my destiny. The adversity that's just, again, and I always refer to that because in order for humans to grow, man, you need some level of pain to grow, whether it's, discomfort. People
Facts.
see that as pain. It's not real physical pain, but
It's a
sometimes it's
fact.
hard to roll off your bed when you just lost your job and you got to pay the bills. There's some pain there, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I
It's a
just
lot
wanted
of
to
pain.
I just want to clarify that because that's important to me for and people to understand. It's like your thoughts and your feelings are not who you are. That just happen to be a part of who you are. But there's so many layers and there's so many questions, so many things people can do to tap into their higher self because we all have it. We're not operating at our optimized, full potential. We're not because we're constantly
Right.
being controlled by the podcast, by content, by people that around us. So for people that are listening, man, for me it's always doing an audit. Maybe once a week I would just sit down with just my thoughts and get into like this child state, which is the imagination. When's the last time we used our imagination, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Remember we was kids, we didn't have phones, we didn't have computers. Bro, we would go climb trees. We would
Right.
Yeah.
go to the park, on a monkey bars, just play tag, play manhunt.
Right.
Like our
Right.
imagination was beyond. But it's so hard to do that when our information, our attention span has gotten so low. The average human's attention span, I think, is like 5.6. A fish is 6 seconds. That's bizarre. It's insane. So that's why when you invite me to a podcast like this, I'm like, of course I would come on because
Mm-hmm.
I understand why people are going through what they're going through, why people are experiencing anxiety. And again, there's different levels. I'm no doctor by any stretch, but I have been in situations where
You still with us? We still here. Little
Oh
technical
man.
difficulties. Little technical difficulties. But
Yeah.
he was
Hopefully
right.
he get this together though. Maybe his
Yeah.
phone died, but yeah, man. Jay dropping some bombs on us, man. We needed this for the platform just to get people a different aspect on, what we got going on and just a different outlook from his point instead of, hearing it from me or you. And
Hmm.
besides, he, get a little on what he have going on for himself also. So, hopefully we can
This
get him
man
back
is
up here.
definitely a goat, man. He definitely motivates me. It's definitely a good brother. Definitely runs a dope platform. Definitely does great services for the world and the public. And he's absolutely right, man. You know what I mean? There's different levels. Like as he was getting ready to say, there is so many different levels to anxiety. Oh, let me get him back in. Let me get him back in.
my fault, my fault. I touched
There we
I touched
go.
the phone.
There
I
we
get
go.
I talk with my hands. Your boy knows sign language, so
No, but as we were saying, you definitely are a true you've been a true inspiration to me, brother. Like you, my brother, firsthand. You know what I mean? And just like me and D, man, me and D got a odd story of how we became so tight, and we both lost something that connected us. Like we were saying earlier. But at the end of the day, it goes paying it forward. It goes like, how do we give that back? You know what I mean? Let's give what we know, what we suffer, to the public, so we can let them know this isn't anxiety talks isn't a platform for a cure. It's basically us coming together, building different coping mechanisms, so
Hmm.
we could be able to develop coping mechanisms, so we could be able to move forth and do the things that we love to do, go back to doing the things we love to do, so we can
Right.
also elevate each other as well as the person who doesn't have that voice and they're listening back home, so they can come on the show or they can be alive through the show with us and they have that voice and they go, okay, well, now they know what it is they want to go do. So that's what this platform is
so let me
about.
let
And
let me
yeah,
ask you this question: where do you see this platform going? Where do you
I
see
see this
anxiety
I
going?
see this I see
Man.
anxiety blossoming to this beautiful flower, bro, on a Sunday, on a Sunday summer day, man. Like I see it elevating. I see it building inspiration for others to be able to say, what they spoke on their platform has helped me in my life. I see us motivating, inspiring. I see us just growing to do more. We'll have anxiety fitness on deck. We'll have anxiety
Whoa.
music back on deck.
Let's go.
You know, I want people to
Mm-hmm.
understand that anxiety is so much a part of me that I took the challenge myself by taking in anxiety and letting it know what's going to work around me. So we
Right.
will have anxiety music, anxiety fitness. We'll have anxiety TV. Anxiety talks is here. We got anxiety after hours on Instagram.
Society after hours. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hey.
So we want people to know that we're in it for the long run. My question is to the listeners now.
Okay.
We are taking forth the effort. We're taking forth the effort to holding ourselves accountable for this. So we are here. Will you join us? Will you be there? Will you hold accountability for what it is that you suffer? We here already. We always gonna be here. This community's open to the public. Are you here with us? What are you gonna do to take the
Right.
next step in your life? Join us. Help and join us. Conquer the situation. We may
Right.
not have the cure, but we have a way to where it becomes equally visualized to us that the eye can see. You will work around our time.
I love that. I
So
think people need that community too,
Right.
bro. I think people want to be a part of community because people are sick of doing it everything by themselves. And I think we in the age where it's a community economy where things people starting to realize like I don't have to do it on my own. There's resources and communities that I can be a part of that I can help grow and develop myself to be a better person and not do it alone. I think that's super important. That's something I've always wanted to do. It's not, I've been doing well for quite some time, but it's like the people that are around me, I want them to do well. I want them to do good. I can't force that upon you, but if I can give you a platform or an opportunity where you can put forth the effort, then maybe we can start doing something together, and start
Right.
growing and maybe build a brand, build a business. Like I'm always for that, man. I wanna collaborate with other people. I wanna. I'm here. That's
Right.
the
right,
reason I'm here is because I want to collaborate. I want you to go to the highest of highs. Yo, the limit is not the sky; it's beyond that. It's whatever it is you want to, man. And this is coming from a kid who's deaf. At the end of the day, I want to clarify this. At the end of the day, when I go to sleep, I'm still deaf. People may be confused right now, like, well, how's he talking? One, and how's he listening to this conversation? Well, I have an earpiece. I was operated when I was 15 years old. I have something called the cochlear implant. And when I take this device off, when I shower and go to sleep, I'm completely deaf. I'm like a mute. I'm done. So I still deal with that. There's still something a part of me that has these anxieties because I know, if my batteries die or if my hearing aid comes off for a slight second or something like that, then I'm going back to square one. But I love to love myself. I came into this conclusion like I love who I am, whether I'm deaf, whether I'm not. This is who I am. It's not gonna change.
right.
You understand? So yeah, I
That's
wanted to
dope that you
clarify
said
that, man.
that,
And what you
man.
guys are doing, man, just keep on doing what you're doing, man. You guys are not only showing up for yourselves, but you're showing up for other people, and
Right.
that's super dope, bro. I could commend, the things that you're doing right now. Because
I
not too many
appreciate it, my
people want to
brother.
do that. People want the 15 minutes of fame, 15 seconds of fame, their highlight reel. And you guys are not doing that. You guys are being vulnerable. As men, bro, you know how hard that is?
I
You
know.
guys know. You know how hard that is. We don't come from that.
Super.
You're gonna run into
That's the
somebody
main thing.
that haven't seen you in a while and they're from the hood. And they're gonna be like, yo, look at you, you talking different now. What's good with that? And it's gonna make you feel some
Growth.
way because yeah, exactly. Because people wanna put you in this box of who they used to know. They used to know.
Right.
And I'll give you a perfect example. Today you go by loyal, but before you used to go by
J Bone.
yeah.
You just made me throw that out there, huh?
I wasn't
That
gonna
was
do
a
it.
good one.
I
I
wasn't
know,
gonna
I
do
know.
it.
It was almost like you yell Marco and I yell Paul. I got you. I got you. I got you.
Nah, I knew. I wanted you to say it. I know, Bone, bro. You was my next door neighbor, bro, and I remember you growing up having this extreme talent for doing music, having the love for talent, but again, our environment was so messed up, bro. And it wasn't even our fault. It wasn't even our parents' fault. You understand? Like they only knew what they knew, and they tried
Right.
their best to give us a life. Right? We have food, we have shelter. Sometimes it wasn't the best, but it was enough. Right? And I started looking at my struggles, even living in a two-bedroom apartment, having mad roaches in my crib, stuff happening outside, me fighting, bro. You know how many fights I got into? Crazy. Me and you almost fought.
Always, word, always. I went back down, neither would you. We always stem from football or
Yeah,
something.
exactly, exactly. But that was when I look back at it, bro. I realized that wasn't even me, bro. That was just everybody around me, kind of.
You gotta remember where we lived at too, people. You gotta understand, we from Throg's Neck, man. The back of the back. All that pretty glitz and glamour that the news show y'all today, we didn't have that. The back of the
Bleeding
back was the
Bronx.
cemetery, and next door to that, by what you call that? Balcom. Balcom was
Okay.
not that golf course that you see today. It was a dumps with dirt bike ramps in the back. You could ride your bicycle on them ramps. And the
Yeah.
back on the side of us, by Brismaid all the way to the side of us, Sampson, was a dead end block before they cut it open and made it a neighborhood. It was a
Mm.
dead end block. You know what I mean? We came from nothing. Like we all used to come at it with each other, go at it with each other.
Yeah. Facts.
We was really a family. Like we had beef, we settled that. It was us. It was behind the scenes. You either fought it out, just spoke it out, or y'all was good. We
Yeah.
we we a brotherhood. We didn't, you know what I mean? There was no one man above the crew. It was all of us. We were all equal to each other, and we all had something we brought to the table. So again, I definitely want to shout out and shine light on the MAG era we had at one point. You know what I mean? We
What
still
does
got
MAG
it. It's
stand
still
for?
most authentic gangsters. You heard me?
But we were young,
Three,
bro.
four,
We were
six,
mad young.
TMBH, draws neck Buddha heads. That was so far back, bro. It brought it,
That
but
was
we were our
so.
community then. We were young. We only had each other. If
Yo,
one of
I
us
think.
ain't eat, we ate at somebody's house. It was like
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
man.
It was more of a brotherhood, man. It was. We didn't want to start a gang. It wasn't a gang. It was literally a brotherhood. Like we just took care of.
The
Make
only
sure everybody
sister
was
we
taken care of.
had was literally our brother too, Christina.
Yeah, yeah. That was. Yeah, I remember those days, man. Just being around. I think this is why I'm so big on community because even growing up, I had some sorts of community, and it was you guys. It was you guys every single day, before school, after school, during the weekends, teen nights, teen clubs,
Shit,
partying,
yo,
chilling.
man, the weekend was dope.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
weekends were dope. That's when we all linked and everybody. We knew it was going to be some type of something. We all did something we weren't supposed to be doing, but we had fun
yeah.
on the weekends, man.
Nah, absolutely. I wouldn't change my childhood, even my experiences, for anything. It allowed me to develop into the person that I am today. And I hope it's the same for most people when you understand, like, everything is just a teaching point of life, bro. It's always for the greater good. When you start
Right.
to realize like things are not happening to you, they're happening for you, you come into a whole different perspective, brother. A whole different perspective. No matter what comes your way, you're gonna be able to break down any wall, any barrier that arises as you go through your journey.
Before we do close out, ladies and gentlemen, what we want to do is, Jay, is there anything that you want to share with the audience that we haven't touched on?
What haven't we touched on?
Give a rundown on what you got coming up. If you want them to know
Yeah,
your
I want to
links,
ask
how to
you,
get to
dude. I
you.
want to ask you. I want to ask. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna plug my stuff in, but I wanted to ask you, bro. You know, you went through a very unique experience, bro. Very unique experience. How do you feel? How do you feel now? Where's your mental health now?
Me
That's a
or
good
this D?
question.
Lawyer.
Oh, uh,
I still call you.
now now it's better to me. It's better than what it was, way better than what it was. And
Why? Why is that?
because of the people I surrounded myself with. I chose to start acknowledging rather than be in denial as I once was about the people I had in my life. And
Mm,
I'm no longer in denial. I know it is what it is. People will show you who they are. Situations will be what presents itself. So I now know like where I want to be. I know where I deserve to be. I know who deserves to have access to me. I know who no longer should have access to me. So all of those things play a part.
facts.
And these support groups in the background always helped my mental health. And I'm learning that if I'd have did this strategy a little sooner, I'll be comfortable and I feel content more in life than I was back then. So today I feel like I'm in a better place.
Dope.
That's dope.
How about yourself? You and D. How about both y'all? Give
Dope.
me your point of view on that.
Um, I feel I feel the same way. Like, you know, at this point in my life, I still have bad days, you know, but the most part, I got a lot more going for myself now that I'm a little older. So, you know, that perception part helps. You know, my daughter, she's 13 right now. So, you know, that it helps
God bless.
my mind. You know,
God
the
bless, bro.
progression, when you have progression, those things help keep your mind off of the things that cling to you to start the anxiety. You know, so it's I'm learning
Mm,
to find ways to benefit from it. You know, like I said, when I have a down day, make sure I find something to do productive, whether it's reading, you know, whether it's listening to music, whether it's reaching out. You know, me and Loyu, we have this thing called, we created about maybe 4 to 5 months ago. It's like a support group, and you know, we whenever we down, you know, we call and we speak about it, or you know, and it's just I just feel I'm at a point now to where I'm at the understanding stage, you know,
mm,
taking accountability for certain things, and not holding it against me, not holding it with me. You know, like,
nice.
you know, we speaking about the past and how we hold the past on, and that's the
Yeah.
part I'm learning, you know.
Dope.
So
Dope.
I feel I've grown a lot, and you know, like I said, you know, this platform also helped me at the same time because it gives you a voice. It makes you feel like your voice is being heard, and
Mm,
I feel that's a bigger thing that I want to get from, you know, the growth of this platform is giving people a platform where they could come and use their voice. You know, we want to hear their stories, you know, the people that's listening and stuff. We want to hear y'all stories. We want to hear y'all pain. We want to hear what's going on, you know, because this is what this platform is about. It's about, you know, us learning and, you know, like, you know, hearing from your story today, you know, it gives me a little more that I should be doing for myself because, you know, no, it don't make you no handicap, but it just makes
mm,
me feel like, man, if this man has this going against himself and he's still pushing every day more, than it just makes me know I have to push more, you know.
mm,
So again, it gives you uh learn value, you
yeah.
know, and understand that you have to live in the moment, like you said, you know, you have to live for now. So that's where I'm at now. You know, I'm being observant. I'm still quiet, but you know, that's my observative stage. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. You said something about like progression that you feel better now because you having progress in your life, right? Yo, and my coach, my mentor, which is my brother, man, he speaks about this all the time. Is that most people think they're chasing happiness. Bro, you can go buy a cheeseburger, you can go get a beer and find happiness in that. So it's not happiness. You're always chasing joy, and joy comes from progress. It's doing small
right,
things in a great way to get progress. So the reason you're starting to develop is because you're starting to see progress. And
Mm.
this is why I'm always like, do the bare minimum. If you could do the bare minimum over and over and over, just 1% every single day, you're 365% better at the end of the year. So go for progress because progress leads to joy.
yeah,
If you want to have more joy in your life, you have to make some type of progress. You see how simple it becomes when we actually look at it from a different perspective. And UD just talking about that is like your perspectives is changing. You're changing your paradigm and actually
right,
observing and become a student to the game. Bro, I'm a forever student. I'm forever learning.
yeah,
I'm always reaching out to people to trying to learn something because I know in order for me to grow, I need to learn something.
yep.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
distance from where we at to where we trying to go. It's what
Right.
we don't know. It's
And
simple.
that actually creates the distance between you and the growth
Exactly.
between you and other people. You know,
Exactly.
so that's
Exactly.
dope.
Exactly. Even the language, bro, even speaking becomes the distance from where you are and where you're trying to go. Most people can't articulate their feelings. Most people can't because we didn't develop that skill set. Speaking is a skill. It's a skill, and if you can harness and develop that skill, you can get closer to your goals much faster because you know you can speak clear on what you want and what you don't want out of your life. But I came up with an idea right now. It's like, maybe one day out of the week, you guys can go live with your audience and then have someone come in, chime in for 5 minutes and, share their story and how they overcame anxiety. Or if they haven't, how you can teach them, give them a teaching point where they can learn something from you guys so they can overcome their adversity or anxiety.
Right.
That'll be dope. I would definitely be
Is there anything that you want to leave with your fans now and the audience now with us that we haven't touched on?
The more you say that, you said that 15 minutes ago, I'm going to keep adding 15 minutes. So, no, man, I do want to say thank you again.
Oh, your links. I want your links. Let the audience know. How can we find Jay? Please let us know.
You can find me on Instagram at deafine, DEAFINE _ podcast, or deafine J, JAY. And on YouTube, same thing, deafine J. And Marty Mar on Facebook.
Yes, sir. Okay, now back to what you was about to say.
Thank
you for having you.
He wants his flowers. He's like, boy, give us out.
No. But go ahead, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Thank you for this experience, bro. First of all.
Yes, sir.
I think
pleasure.
This experience, it's so powerful to have these conversations because of the stigma we have around, black and brown people in the urban community. Because although we're not in the hood no more, we still represent that in some sorts. And we still have those stigmas and those things that we went through in our mind to some degree, right? But as you grow and develop, you start to embrace these things that we go through, like speaking about anxiety. And the more we can embrace it, the more we can show other people that them too can get to this state of controlling or dealing with the anxiety in a place where they're not suffering, but actually having an experience in life. So I just want to say again, I appreciate, please keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to always call you and hold you accountable for everything because I want to see you grow. I want to see you grow. I want to see you develop, and as you keep bringing people on, I keep seeing you guys get more and more comfortable. Even this one is like, you guys are super comfortable doing what you're doing. That means you guys are living in your purpose. So don't shy away from that. Love you guys, man. I appreciate it.
Love you too, my brother. With this being said, this being brought to you guys,
we gotta go over the quotes of the day. We always have 2 quotes of the day before we end the show off. To kind of give people a little quote that they can take and use for themselves. You can go first.
Me?
My quote of the day is
Nate.
God doesn't give the hardest battles to his toughest soldiers. He creates the toughest soldiers through life's hardest battles. That's today's quote. One of my quotes.
That's dope. My quote is, if you could read my mind, you will look at me different. That's my quote. And I actually wrote that one myself. That's actually from me.
That's a super bar.
With that being said,
definitely.
Anxiety is definitely brought to you by GW. Is sponsored by GW Anxiety Talks. Get with us. So here we go to the mental health suicide hotline. Do you have that right? Okay, mental health. Call the suicide hotline number in the U.S. Call the National Suicide Prevention, the lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. Again, it's 1-800-273-8255. Use the same number and press 1. Reach out to the Veterans Crisis Line. Reach out to a close friend or loved one. Contact a minister, spiritual leader, or someone else in your youth faith community. Also, the mental health site.
Mental help, yeah. Mentalhelp.com is an online counseling website. The suicide hotline is 988. They will connect you to a trained counselor with his existing lifeline. Again,
also,
the suicide hotline is 988. Sorry.
Also, want to give a shout out to Public Gift Hair. linkbest.publicgift.com, raising awareness for mental health, breast cancer, autism, suicide prevention, save the bees, save the planet, eating disorder, addiction recovery. The promo link is mental in all capitals 25. You get 25% off all your purchases with them. So again, publicgift.com. This is Anxiety Talks. Your host, Nate.
Sponsored by GW Anxiety Talks. Tap in.
Let's go.
Stop playing with us.
Again, this is sponsored by GW Anxiety Talks. D, take us away, close us out.
Yo.